see if we have all.
Right, a very good afternoon, everyone.
Okay,
The Second Region Child Protection Court number
let me
one,
fix that.
Martin County is now back in session. We have one.
All right.
Judge, I'm so sorry. I've been sitting on the Liberty County in the weight room, and I realized it when it was 2 and it hadn't started, but I just want to make sure I didn't give the wrong Zoom link to my client. I don't know if she's one of the people on the phone.
I'm here, Lori.
Okay.
So, right. So, Ms. Knight, you are on 091. You know, actually, I do believe I saw that number appear in the Liberty County waiting room earlier, I believe. So, okay. So, attorney-wise, I believe everyone is here. All right, so returning, bear with me a moment, returning to cause number 64, we'll do our very best to use the initials of the children as we're on YouTube in order to maintain public access and open courts. We are proceeding today virtually by agreement. Is that right, everyone?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right.
Correct.
And thank you. And in pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 24.017 and 74.094.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I didn't see Dorothy Stanley. Is she on the phone?
Miss Stanley? I don't think she's going to be on either of those area codes.
I text her, so I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, she might be in Liberty County. So we'll wait for Miss Stanley.
Your Honor, while we're waiting, I spoke with Mr. Snelson yesterday after our hearing. He informed me he was on day 3 of a new job, and I told him that I would do my best to see if we could get an agreement to take him out of order, because he was going to forego his typical lunch hour to try to get on the phone at 2 o'clock to participate.
2 o'clock, okay. And I don't believe he's on yet, unless he's on one of those numbers. Mr. Snelson, Andrew Snelson, there's Ms. Stanley. Okay, so Ms. Collier, you're back to one hat. Okay, do we, first of all, is there any objection to taking Mr. Snelson out of turn? I don't.
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. McPherson. I'm going to put you back on mute there. Sounds like you're 35,000 feet up. Okay, okay, I do not see Mr. Snelson. Chelsea Knight, if you will unmute and answer.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. And David Turner, I believe I see Mr. Turner. Okay, Mr. Turner.
I'm here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I got you. Thank you, Mr. Turner. And we're going to wait on Mr. Snelson. Okay, I'm looking in my notes, but y'all can probably tell me faster and maybe even more accurately who was last on the stand yesterday and who had the witness.
It was Kelsey was on the stand, and I was going to recross.
Okay, I'm admitting a Moto E6. See if that's Mr. Snelson. If it is, we'll take him. Andrew Snelson. Nope, that's not Mr. Snelson. Nope. Okay. All right. So with With that, Ms. Lewis, you are unmuted. Let me remind you that you are still under oath. And Ms. Moore, you may proceed. However, if and when Mr. Snelson is able to show, we'll probably go to him as directly as we can, as soon as we can.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. All right. So you testified yesterday that one of the concerns that you had for my client's home was that was having dogs in the house with a 1-year-old. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. How many dogs are in the home that the 1-year-old lives in right now?
They do have dogs as well. I was just using that as an example because
Okay,
they
objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Okay, so they do have dogs. How many dogs do they have?
I'm not sure.
Do they have large dogs?
They have one large dog. Yes.
A Great Pyrenees, right?
Yes.
Do they have any medium-sized dogs?
No, they're Chihuahuas.
Okay, so the rest are small.
Mhm.
Okay. And that wasn't a concern for the 1-year-old to be in the placement's home with dogs, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'll finish up the dog block and then we'll get to Mr. Snelson.
I'm done with the dogs.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Ms. Lewis, you can go back to mute. Thank you, Ms. Moore. And all right, Mr. Snelson, you are unmuted. And you were going to be calling him Mr. Crocker. Mr. Crocker. Are you serious? Mr. Crocker.
He'll probably be right back.
I'm here, Your Honor. I'm sorry, couldn't get unmuted fast enough.
Okay. All right. Very good. So you're wanting to call Mr. Snelson right now, correct?
Yes, sir, if I may.
You may. Mr. Snelson, if you will raise your right hand to be sworn, you may proceed.
Thank you. Andrew, yesterday you recall the testimony of Mrs. Lewis when she was testifying regarding the number of classes you had performed.
Yes, sir.
And was that number accurate that she had testified to?
No, sir.
Okay, what is the actual number of classes that you've participated in thus far?
The BIP classes, I have participated in 6. And I don't know the exact number of the, are you just asking about the BIP or the outpatient as well?
Well, I know you're on limited time, so we'll just ask kind of globally. BIP, you have 6 of how many?
6 of 18.
Okay. Outpatient classes, how many left?
I have 1 group meeting left and 1 individual left. And then my date to be discharged, I think, is the 12th. No, I know it's the 12th.
Of May.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's imminent as far as the counseling portion goes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as your drug screen, you have some different testimony regarding whether or not it was a pass-fail, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Lewis informed me your last drug screen was in fact a pass.
Yes, sir. The same day she informed me as well that at my last test I've tested negative.
Okay, and was that hair?
That was hair. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Her testimony regarding reduced levels and the necessity to continue to test and monitor because they're looking for reducing levels really isn't there because according to her, you have 0, correct?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Did Mrs. Lewis tell you that your drug test was negative?
Yes, sir.
And when do you have any recollection when she told you that?
I don't know the exact date, but it was the last time that her and I met face to face in the home.
Yeah, that was my next question. It was a face-to-face. It wasn't on the phone or email or anything like that.
No, sir. She told me we were standing, in the same room.
And I believe we had a visit at least in late April of 24, correct?
I'm sorry, but I don't know the exact date, but that's probably about right because it was pretty recent.
Were there any concerns expressed to you by Mrs. Lewis about the condition of the home?
No, sir. None of the visits that that I've had with Miss Lewis. They didn't she didn't express any concerns.
How is it that you came about to learn that there were conditions in the home that needed to be remedied?
I think her name is Miss Stanley.
Okay.
Had come by to I'm guessing to take some pictures, and
Okay.
so we allowed her in the house, and she took some pictures, and she did mention a couple of things, and also I paid attention to what she took pictures of.
Mr. Snelson, I made some representation to the court this afternoon before you joined that you and I had a conversation regarding your limited availability this afternoon. Is that still the case?
No, sir. As long as we don't take more than like an hour and a half, it's not good.
Okay, so the representation I made to the court was you forego your lunch hour to be able to participate on this hearing, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
this is due to new employment, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I would pass Mr. Snelson, considering the brevity of time that we have for him.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McPherson. Ms. Hollier.
Thank you, Mr. Snelson. It sounds like that you're almost complete with drug treatment, and I'm assuming you did like a relapse prevention plan and things like that during your drug treatment.
Yes, ma'am. I discussed that with my drug counselor during the individual counseling.
So it's not something you write out and have with you after you get discharged?
I'm not sure if they're gonna discharge me with that or not. I know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it is part of my treatment plan to have one in set up. So they may discharge me with it, but I'm not real sure.
Well, so I'm asking because it is part of your plan, and so I would make them say, I would ask them, hey, before, like in this individual counseling session, let's draw one up so that you can have that done, and it's not something you have to worry about after you're not meeting with the professionals all the time, right? Does that make sense?
Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've done it. It seems like you've been going consistently to your BIP. Do you think you're getting something out of that? I
do. I actually. I'm enjoying it. The guys that in the new class that I'm in, they're more. I have more in common with them, and we're able to be open with each other. I am getting a lot out of it, and I do like attending it.
Good. I will tell you that I have seen changed men. And I say men, I'm sure the women get a lot out of it as well, but it's more geared toward, I've just seen so much change in men that have gone through the program. There's so much to learn. So I think do you agree it would really help your family to complete that?
I plan on completing it. And also Mr. Johnny, which is the instructor, said that once I've completed it, that I can as well join in on Zoom anytime that I want, and I plan to do that.
Good. Okay. So it sounds like you're absorbing this information and you're going to utilize the resources you're making and getting later, right?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we want you to do. It's not really a matter of a checklist. I hope that you understand that. When did Miss Stanley come by your home?
Again, I'm sorry, I don't recall the exact date. I want to say that it was last week.
Okay, so I'm not trying to couch you into certain. I get it. You're not. Most men are not good with dates as much. I feel like I'm picking on men. I'm sorry. And so I'm not holding you to that. I guess my main question to you, Mr. Snelson, is y'all have been asking for a return of the children and unsupervised time. Do you believe, honestly, that when Miss Stanley went to your home that day, that your home was in any shape, by any stretch of the imagination, ready for children?
On that exact date, no, ma'am.
Okay. And it's not just something that happened overnight. Would you agree with me? The way your home looked was something that had gone on and been building up to for a long period of time.
Yes, ma'am. It has been building up. that's what we're working on correcting. We're throwing stuff away daily and
Good.
giving things away and making improvements. I've been laying a lot of floor down, remodeling.
And listen, right, and I'm going to tell you, we're not nitpicking and looking at the little things, but it's just y'all weren't working for the first couple of months of this case, correct?
Ma'am, I haven't worked in 5 months.
And Miss Knight's not working, right?
Right.
So in my mind, y'all are ready for the kids to come home. You're saying this, your attorneys are advocating for it. You're not working. And for me to see those pictures of that home, that's not just a few little indiscretions. That is a deplorable living situation. Would you not agree?
I don't want to sound like I'm questioning you, but are these the pictures that Miss Stanley took that recently?
Absolutely. And you've been in this home since the beginning of the case, correct? And it's not just, I think that it was stated that y'all were remodeling. It was more than remodeling. There's trash. There's lots of dirty clothes. This is not just, oh, I'm in a construction zone. This is living in filth. Do you not recognize that? And do you think that's good for kids?
I don't know, but I also don't feel like there was a lot of trash. And I know what y'all are referring to, the clothes. Those were not dirty clothes. They were clean clothes. They haven't been folded. Nobody likes to fold and put the clothes away, so they're just all piled in baskets and on top of the bathroom sink.
I'm just wondering if this was the way you were living before, and if you agree that it needs to not be perfect, but at least make an effort to get a trash bag and throw things away, right? Because if it's an unannounced visit, the concern is when you know people are coming to your home, you're going to clean up. But when it's unannounced, that's in our minds, a true fact about the way you're really living. And I just wanted to know what yours and Miss Knight's explanation was and what you thought about that.
Yes, ma'am, I understand where you're coming from. I don't know. It was a little dirty, and it was unacceptable. We did slack off that week, and I had been real busy that week. I haven't been working at a payroll job, but I have been scrapping metal every day and doing remodels. And so I'm not just sitting at home.
Sure. And that's fair. I understand that. You're doing what you need to do.
And Chelsea, she'll help me out from time to time when I need a hand because I can't afford to pay a helper.
Okay.
And so she's not always at the house too.
Right. Well, here's where my concern is. There's been it's been stated that there's depression and mental health issues, and really, when you look at
Judge, I think that's a misstatement of the testimony.
No. Ms. Knight stated in the affidavit and at the adversary that she suffers from depression.
Judge, that affidavit is not in evidence, and Ms. Knight has not testified in this case. I would have to go re-listen to the recording from the adversary to verify. In this hearing, that has not been put into evidence.
Mr. Snelson, I'm sorry.
I think everyone was quoting from that affidavit yesterday, frankly.
Well, and I guess I'll ask the question, Mr. Snelson, do you know if Ms. Knight has suffered from depression in the past and has made those statements?
Well, sure. Yes. At the beginning of the case, she was definitely suffering from some depression.
And the reason why, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. But I've noticed myself where I can tell that she's gotten to where she's a lot happier, more playful, and just seems to be in much better spirits, as we go through this.
Good. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because when you see that people are suffering from depression, it really reflects on the home and the household they live in. And when I look at those pictures, I look at somebody that is depressed. So I want you guys to really talk about that with these service providers so that you can fix whatever needs to be fixed so that it makes your home a good place for your children to be. That's it. Do you understand that?
I do understand. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Snelson. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Zelesnik. Sorry again.
Hi, Mr. Snelson. Was there a different day that Miss Stanley came to take photos of your house, or was it just the one time?
I believe she's only been there the one time.
Okay, so if she represents to the court later on that would be on May 20th, does that sound correct to you?
I would have to say yes.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm sorry. What day did you say?
May 20th?
No, I mean, we're in
I think that was supposed to be April 20th.
Oh,
Yeah,
April
that's before the
20th.
removal and
I'm
before
sorry,
that.
you're right. We're here on May 8th.
Right.
April 20th.
Well, that would sound pretty accurate. Say.
Okay. And Your Honor, I'm not sure how you want me to do this. I'm willing to share my screen with Mr. Snelson to show him photos.
Okay.
Since
All
he
right.
said he was paying attention.
I have enabled the screen share. I believe you all tendered these yesterday. Didn't you all, somebody?
I think we were going to wait for Miss Stanley to testify before we tendered them, but I think we are in receipt of them. We've all seen them.
Okay. So are you offering them at this point?
I can, but I was going to just let Mr. Snelson check and see if
I don't have an objection to them if you want to just go ahead and offer them.
I guess I'll offer the department's exhibit 1, which is the email containing the photos Miss Stanley sent to the department, Miss Hollier, Miss Moore, and Miss Lewis.
Well, I have another one that I didn't include in the ones that I sent, but I'm realizing now that I need to. So I'll shoot that one over to you guys if you're okay with that.
Okay, so how many are in departments number 1?
It is a 16-page document, and I think it's 16 photos in that document.
Okay.
Because there's one per page.
Okay, very good. So again, I've enabled the screen share feature. Any objections to departments number 1?
No objections.
All right, then departments number 1 is hereby admitted without objections.
Okay, Mr. Snelson, can you see my screen?
I'm on a cell phone, but I can see it. I'm slightly. It's outside of my home.
That's your home, okay. And then it's more the outside of your home?
Yes.
And is this a trailer on your property?
Yes.
And is this maybe your kitchen area?
That is my kitchen area, yes.
And then on page 5 of it, I've got more of the kitchen area, including the stove, and it looks like kind of a vanille-shaped countertop.
Yes, ma'am.
And is this the flooring that you said you were repairing?
I haven't gotten to the floor in the kitchen yet, no. Okay. But it's I've stripped the old flooring off, yes.
So does your floor still look this way now, or no?
It's still bare wood, but it's clean. It doesn't look like that, no, ma'am.
Okay. And then for the 7th picture, is this your living room area, maybe?
Yes.
And then this is the 8th picture. Is this, what is this?
That is actually, so in the kitchen, there's such an island, and to the backside of the island, there's those 2 baker racks that you see, and that fish tank that has been thrown out.
The fish tank. Where's the fish tank?
So you see the pressure cooker?
Oh, it's right what there? We're sitting on.
In the dustpan, that's a fish tank that's been thrown out.
Okay. And the 9th picture, what room is this?
So that is Jackson's room that she has been working on.
Does it still look like this, or is it different now?
It looks much different now. There's no the window's no longer boarded up. It has the AC in there. I believe she removed the desk, and she has his table sitting right and his toys set up in there. And I'm pretty sure she has the crib cleaned out as well.
What about the flooring in this room? Is that something you've been working on?
Excuse me. That is something that I've been working on, and I actually have rugs that big area rugs that we're gonna put down in there.
Are you in your home right now?
No, ma'am, I'm in my office.
Okay. And then on this 10th picture, what room is this?
So that's Kelly's room. And what she has her hand on right there is a piece of Kelly's loft bed that we just got her. And we hadn't had it set up just yet, but we had it in the room. It is set up now.
And the 11th picture is still in Kelly's room?
That is still in Kelly's room, yes, ma'am.
And you have, it looks like maybe 3 mattresses or 2 mattresses in a box spring?
Yes, ma'am. The smaller mattress is what actually goes with the loft bed. And we had that full-size mattress and box spring stored in there at the time, which I have also gotten rid of. That is the electrical box, which is in Kelly's room. And I have put the face on it, the cover.
Okay. And that's the 12th picture I'm showing. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
13th one. Is this a bathroom?
That is the bathroom. I have recently replaced the wood in there. It was kind of getting rotten. So I tore all the plywood up and put new plywood down. And I put linoleum down, and that's the sink underneath that mountain of clothes, which those are all clean clothes. And it's all that stuff has been removed and folded and put away as well.
So does this bathroom have a toilet in it?
Sure. To the right side of that tub is the toilet.
So if you use the bathroom in there with all these clothes, how are you washing your hands?
What do you? I'm sorry. Can you ask that again?
I'm just wondering, is that a toilet that y'all would use?
Yes. I'm not sure. Maybe you misheard me. So to the right side of that tub, that's just, that's the sink right there where the clothes are at, and then the tub, and then to the right side of that is the toilet, and then sitting in front of the toilet is the washer and dryer.
And I think on the 14th.
See, there you go, right there.
Yes. Okay.
So that what you're seeing. Yes. So that's showing the toilet, and I believe that's the dryer right there, sitting in front of it.
And then the 15th photo. Where is this taken?
Let's see. Okay, see that's the stuff from the one of the other photos where I told you that's the 2 baker racks that you've seen in the other photo.
Okay.
That's set behind the island, which they have been cleared off. I mean, some of it was my tools sitting up there, and a little piece of plywood, and that's all been cleared off now.
And this 16th photo is what? What part of your home?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, but can you hear me okay?
Kind of in and out.
Okay, so that's that again, that's okay, I'm sorry. That's the island in the kitchen, and it's also like, so that's just right beside the baker photos, the baker cabinets there. The piece of plywood is actually leaning on the pantry, and let's see, what is that? So that black piece that's folded up, leaning against the plywood, is the old bed frame that we took out of Kelly's room, and we've now gotten rid of because we set her up a loft bed. And let's see. So then I see an old cot that we had brought out to throw away as well. And let's see. And then that's the back side of the couch there that you see straight forward. And the chair that you see there in the picture, that actually goes into Kelly's room as well, because it'll be under her loft bed for her desk. And
chair here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And then there is a medicine cabinet that Chelsea pulled out of the closet in our room. She told me that I needed to trash, which I've done. And the same thing with the box that's sitting on. She had pulled it out, told me that it needed to go to trash. And that's
Now,
all.
was that, Mr. Snelson, just to be clear for the record, Chelsea Knight or Chelsea Lewis?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Chelsea Knight.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about Kelsey Lewis, right, Judge?
Chelsea Knight.
Okay, Chelsea Knight.
Not Kelsey, Chelsea.
Okay,
All right.
no problem. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Okay, so you were talking about your last drug screen, how it was negative. I know that you mentioned prior to just recently, you were kind of doing odds and end type jobs and that Chelsea would often help you. Can you give me an estimated percentage of the time that she would help you?
Be honest, as often as I could get her to. I mean, well, she's always willing to help me out. So,
Okay.
I mean.
So about how much time would you say it would be fair to say that prior to you getting this job that you guys spent the majority of your time together, or is that not accurate?
No, that is very accurate. That is very accurate. Yes, ma'am.
And at any point, did you ever see Chelsea using any drugs?
No, ma'am.
At any point, did Chelsea ever talk to you about using drugs or getting drugs?
No, ma'am.
At any point that you maybe hadn't been with Chelsea, and then when you were reunited with her, did you believe that she may be under the influence of drugs or even alcohol?
No.
Okay. How long have you all lived on that property?
I've owned the property for I think I've lived there for 17 years. I've owned it for.
That's fine. That's enough. 17 years is fine. How long has Chelsea been there with you?
Chelsea's been there with me for 6 years.
In the 6 years that you both have lived there, have you had a lot of visitors or people in and out of your home?
Well, my home is usually
Wait, hold
where.
on. It's a yes or a no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
On a regular day-to-day, no.
Okay. Maybe have there been times that families come over for holidays or for birthday parties?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have there been times that maybe a friend might have come over and hung out?
I don't really have friends come by. It's mostly just family.
Okay. What about her? Does she have a lot of friends that are coming by?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are there ever people that are coming by that y'all don't know or knocking on the door that y'all don't know? Does that happen a lot?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When Miss Dorothy was at the house there and was going through and taking those pictures that you just looked at, did you let her know at that time that the home was under construction?
I personally didn't, but I believe Chelsea did.
Okay.
I think I heard her say that.
And the reason that it was under construction is because you guys were trying to make it suitable for the children, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted to fix some of the issues that were there. You were already in the process of redoing Kelly's room when this case started, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you wanted to get those things taken care of. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am. We wanted to take I don't want to say it like this, but we wanted to take advantage of the kids not being there and do upgrades.
Okay. Now I want to make it clear, throughout the life of this case, your home has not looked like that, has it?
No, ma'am. There's
hold on, let me ask the question.
Yes, ma'am.
You haven't been living in filth throughout the life of this case, have you?
No, ma'am.
Was the house extra dirty and maybe not as picked up because of the construction?
Yes, ma'am.
Your house was not perfect when the case started, was it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so that's why you guys have been going through and cleaning out. And like you said, cleaning up that floor real good and trying to address those issues from when the case started too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I would, at this point, ask to admit respondent mothers 1 through, oh gosh, I thought it was 13, but maybe it's 13, 1 through 13. And these are the ones that I sent you guys yesterday, except I am including one picture of the outside. If you want me to email that to you, I will. I just threw it on there.
What day were they from?
Multiple days. One was from yesterday. The outside picture was from yesterday.
Do you mean they taken?
Are you asking what date they were taken?
Yes.
Yes, the outside picture was taken yesterday. Or today. I'm sorry, it was taken today. The others were taken on May 1st. Looks like May 1st.
I don't have any objection as long as it's not including the, you kind of sent it as a batch with the text message at the end.
It's not
As long
included.
as it's not including that.
All right, any objections to respondent mothers number 1?
No.
Pictures.
No objection.
All right, thank you. Has everyone seen 13? The one from today?
No, and I can, it's just one picture of outside. I can send it if y'all want it.
That'd be great. You don't have to send it. You can screen share if you got it.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. Does anybody want to see it before I screen share? No. Okay. May I publish, Judge?
You may.
I know if y'all see it, because sometimes I share the wrong thing. Is it there?
Yeah.
You can see the outside picture?
Yeah,
Well-
it's like a trampoline and a trailer, but it's not
Yes.
the house.
No,
It's not the front of not the front of the house, though.
correct.
Okay, so this is number 13?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So with that, I believe then everyone has seen 1 through 13. So any objections to respondent mothers number 1? All right.
No.
Hearing no objections, they are hereby admitted. You may publish.
Okay. So this picture that we're looking at, this was taken, I believe it was taken today. It might have been yesterday, but what are we seeing here?
Okay, so that white Dodge truck that you see in the picture there, that's a coworker, well, an ex-coworker of mine and also a good friend of mine. He's helping try to get the trailer out of there because that driveway is real small and real muddy, so it has to go through the ditch pretty much. And so that's what they're doing. They're trying to move the trailer out.
Okay. That trailer is where your brother was living on your property, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys have been trying to get that trailer off the property since last week. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You have not been able to do it because of all of the rain and it made all that mud and you keep getting stuck. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The long-term goal is to get him off as soon as you're able to get
Your
it.
Honor, I'm going
Right?
to object to counsel testifying for Mr. Snelson.
Judge, I'm leading on cross.
It's more than that. It's testifying.
Overruled.
The long-term goal is to get it off permanently, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know that they were doing some work on it today. Do you know if they were successful today?
I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that correctly because I'm not
That's
there.
okay. And knowing that it's taking a little bit of time because of the mud and the rain and everything, I just want to make sure from you that this is not something that you are wanting to drag on for a month, is it?
Not at all. No.
Okay, so is it fair to say that the idea is that as soon as that trailer can be off, it's off? If that's tomorrow, if that's this weekend, you just want it off?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to go to the next exhibit. I might need to make this a little bit bigger. What are we looking at here?
That again is the kitchen. That's
Okay,
the
now-
item.
These spots on the ground, that's not trash, is it?
No, those spots on the ground are mostly from where the cabinets were being painted and the ceiling was being painted, and so we had some drip.
I'm going to go to, number 2. This is part of your kitchen, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's the sink, stove, and the cutting board that
Yeah.
made there.
These pictures were taken once you guys were finished with the construction that you were doing inside. Is that right?
I'm not completely done with the construction, but yes, after I was done with the construction material that was in the home, yes, ma'am.
And this is the picture of the baker's racks that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, after Chelsea got all my tools and everything organized off of them.
And this is a picture of the inside of your fridge.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a picture of the inside of your freezer.
Yes, ma'am.
And the pantry.
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like you guys have plenty of food. Do you believe that you're financially able to feed the 2 children if they're placed back in your home?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
This is a picture of the living room.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we see 1 brown dog on the floor and we see 1 black and white dog on the couch. Are those the 2 dogs that are inside?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wait, there's another dog and there's another brown dog on the couch.
Yes, ma'am.
So are there 3 dogs inside?
They're actually mostly the black and white one is the one that's usually in the house. The others, they stay outside most of the day. but they do occasionally come in. Yes.
And then there's some blankets, it looks like. Is that what's right here next to the black and white dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, oh, sorry, guys. I think I added this one too. This one, what is this? Is that a cover over the electrical thing we saw in the last set?
Yes, ma'am. That was something that we corrected and took pictures of.
Sorry, y'all. I added that one. I forgot. That was the one I was talking about. I didn't think I was going to need. I didn't understand what it was. What is this room that we're looking at?
This is Kelly's room after being gone through and getting some of the old broken toys out of there and going through making sure and get like all the clothes that didn't fit her. So that's just kind of after we got everything kind of organized in there and the bed set up. That's her loft bed right there to the left.
Now, Kelly had an opportunity to let you guys know exactly how she wanted her room set up. Is that right?
She did.
And did you do it exactly the way she asked you to?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And this is another picture of her room?
Yes, ma'am. That's her loft bed. And
a little desk, looks like a desk underneath?
Yeah, you
with
can
a light
see
so she can see?
Yes, ma'am. She's been bugging me about that for a while too.
Okay. And this is what?
Okay, so that's her closet and her dresser in the closet to give her more room. She has a lot of stuff. And then that's a big dry erase board hanging on her wall, kind of over the closet there. I put it up there on hinges and she can open and close it, and so she can color and write whatever she's real into art. So that's why she.
And it looks like there's things hanging on that dry erase board. Are they hanging on like magnets that she can move around as she wants to?
I honestly don't know, but I can't. I hope nobody screwed anything into that dry erase board. But so I'm making these magnets.
Okay. Now, in the previous room that we saw of your son's room, and I'm sorry I mentioned her name, I'm going to try not to do that again, but the AC unit wasn't on the wall, and we can see here that it is, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is this?
That's the bathroom after the remodel. I got a few little things that I got to finish up. But see, I laid the floor down, and like I said, I replaced all the plywood and laid the linoleum, and she's done cleaned the counter off with the sink and got everybody's clothes folded and put away.
And that is the last one that I have.
Okay. Ms. Moore.
Yes. Do you want me to share again?
Yeah, could please the JS's room real fast.
Do I need to zoom in or out?
No, I don't think so. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So, Mr. Snelson, how long, I know Ms. Stanley's pictures were taken around the 20th of April, these around the 1st of May. How long, two questions at this point, how long did it take you all to get the house to, from what I first saw to what I just saw? And the second question is, who, if anyone, helped, if anyone, helped you and Ms. Knight?
It was just me and Chelsea Knight, and it took a few materials that I still needed to get, and it took me I really feel like it took about 2, maybe 3 days after to get to that point.
All right. You may continue, Ms. Moore.
And so you're saying it took 2 to 3 days after Miss Stanley came and saw it for it to get how it is now. Is that what you were meaning?
Yes, ma'am. As far as
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But prior to that, you were continuously working on fixing things. Is that right?
Daily. Yes, ma'am.
So all of the progress that we see is not just from the visit, because you were in the process of fixing things at that visit.
That's been over about a 6-month period.
Past witness.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Crocker.
Trying to make me blur and not speak for some reason. Your Honor, I have no further questions. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Mr. Snelson?
I do, Your Honor.
Sure.
So, Mr. Snelson, are you telling me that you didn't have people living with you that were not related to you when the kids lived there? Because Ms. Moore asked you all these questions about people coming to your house and how often you said nobody, just family. Are you saying that people that weren't related, that no one lived with you and Miss Knight?
My son, my adult son, lives there, and I'm sorry, I was wrong. His friend Bailey lives there. I'm sorry, because
well, that's a big difference. Do you know that Kelly? Kay.
Oh no, during the time that Kelly was there, Bailey didn't. No, he was.
If KT said that there was a lot of people in and out of living in that home and that made her scared, she wasn't telling the truth?
Judge, I'm going to object to assumes facts not in evidence. I'm also going to object to hearsay.
I think it
Overruled.
Impeachment, yeah.
Overruled.
You can answer.
Okay, can you ask me again?
Yeah. You went through all these questions with Miss Moore about nobody ever comes to your home, nobody ever comes and hangs out, nothing, and that surprised me based on my conversations with Kate. Are you saying that no one has lived in your home?
Objection. Ask and answer.
No one except for who's there now.
Okay, well, who are those people?
So my oldest son, Isaiah,
okay, go ahead.
He's 20. Were you going to ask his age?
Yeah.
He's 21.
Okay.
He was 21 yesterday.
Oh, good.
And his friend, which I've known him since he was in elementary school. His name is Bailey.
Okay.
He stays there with my son as well. That's they stay in the add-on part. And
where are the pictures of that?
Well, that's their area. It's an add-on. It's not really open. It's not really opened up to the rest of the house.
Well, have you given these names and their background, like their birthdays and information to the department?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, Bailey. Is Hancock? Is that right? The investigator?
I think I do know Bailey Hancock. Yes, an investigation.
So the investigator, Bailey Hancock, I believe that's how her last name is. She had actually done a background on both Isaiah and his friend Bailey.
Well, and that's what I thought. So when Miss Moore was going through all these series of questions, how nobody's there and it's just you and Miss Knight and all of that, I was surprised because that's not what I've been told. So why did you say yes to all that and agree with her questions if it wasn't true?
Because the way that I heard the question was she asked if there was anybody other than family.
Well, but your son's best friend is not family.
And you're right, and I did correct that just now. I wasn't trying to lie. I wasn't really thinking about it because I think of them as family, and it didn't, So
well, here's the thing that you admit that you and Miss Knight were using drugs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you went through that whole series of testimony with Miss Moore that you've never seen her use drugs, be on drugs, or anything like that,
objection. That's a misstatement of my question. I asked during the pendency of the case.
No, I don't think she did.
I'm sorry, but that's how I heard it.
So was your son and this best friend, they were living at the investigation, so how do we know they're clean and since the pendency of the case not using drugs?
That I know we're not on drugs. No.
Are they willing to take drug tests before the kids come home?
I mean, if it's necessary, I'm sure they would.
It's necessary. Are they willing to?
I'm sure that they would. I mean, I'd have to talk to them, but I imagine that they would.
Okay. Well, all right. So please talk to them about that. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Snelson, does the add-on have a restroom?
Does it have a restroom? No, sir.
Okay. Does it have a kitchen or a kitchenette?
No, sir.
Are there outside doors to the add-on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there doors to the add-on through which you enter the main house?
Yes, sir. There's one door.
All right. All right. Any other questions of Mr. Snelson?
Just a couple.
Okay.
Mr. Snelson, so if my questioning made you answered differently about the son or the friend, I apologize for that. That is 100% my fault. So I want to talk about them. You said that it's just those two living there, that you gave their information to Bailey Hancock. Did Bailey Hancock ever tell you that they were not approved?
No, ma'am.
Did she ever tell you that they were approved?
She said that their backgrounds were good, I believe.
Okay. Did she ask for them to take a drug test? Did she ask you at least?
Me, no. I don't know if she did them, but no, she never asked me anything.
If this court wants them to take a drug test, and they are unwilling to do that, are you willing to put them out of your home so that the kids can come back?
Absolutely. Today.
If they were to test positive for any substances, would you be willing to put them out of your home to have your kids there?
Yes, ma'am.
Has Kay ever said to you or to anyone that you know of that she was uncomfortable around your son or his friend?
No, ma'am.
When she's around them, does she act differently?
No, she kind of acts towards them like she does other kids because they're still so young. She'll play and cut up with them and just have a good time mostly.
Would you characterize it almost like brother and sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they disciplinarians for the kids?
Not at all.
Do they have any ongoing responsibilities as far as the children go? For instance, maybe helping with homework or helping with a bath, getting ready to go to bed, babysitting, anything like that?
I'm sure that they would help with homework if Kelly asked, but any of the rest, no, they don't. They don't have no obligation to the kids like that.
And how often do they hang out in your section of the home?
Not often. Bailey works quite often. He works at Sonic right there in Coons. And when he comes home, he typically goes in his room, plays his Xbox, or he'll leave almost as soon as he gets home, he'll shower, get changed, and leave. And Isaiah, my son, he does the same. He's in the same trade as me, and he travels most of the time. So he's home here and there.
When he's home, is he hanging out in his part, or is he hanging out with you and Chelsea?
No, man, he's 21. He don't want to hang out with his dad no more.
Okay. All right. Have there ever been times that you can recall where he's offered to do something, whether it's, drive and get food or run an errand or maybe take the kids to school, where he would be in a situation where he would be alone with Kay?
No, he has taken her to school because she missed the bus, but Chelsea rode with him.
So he wasn't alone?
No, ma'am. And he'll buy dinner every now and then, but the kids won't ride with him.
Has Kay ever said that she's uncomfortable being alone with him?
No, ma'am.
Have you found him maybe spending extra time with her, like maybe in her room while you guys were in the living room, or in the kitchen while you guys weren't in there?
No, ma'am.
Do things like that happen?
No, ma'am.
I'll pass a witness.
I have a few more, Your Honor.
You may. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Snelson, you don't know Bailey or your son Isaiah to use drugs, correct? Is that what you said?
That's right.
Okay, well then why weren't they approved as safety monitors? Because they both said they smoked marijuana and absolutely cannot pass a drug test while living in your home when the children were removed.
I'm guessing that's Bailey's report. They don't.
Whether it's Bailey or your son, he's saying that they're smoking pot and so are you in the house. So how do you not know that they've ever used drugs when they were using drugs?
Objection. That misstates the question. I didn't ask if ever. I asked if now.
I'm sorry, but Ms. Blanca, can you tell me what you just said again? Did you say that?
I had asked you if you'd ever known them to use drugs, and you said no. And then, so my question is that they were using drugs in your home and couldn't pass as safety monitors for the children, and you didn't know that? And so we should believe that they're not using drugs now?
What Bailey had actually told me was that they didn't see fit for the adult child to monitor the parent.
Specifically, it says that Bailey, Mr. Richardson indicated he's been living there 3 months. He said it both he and Isaiah use marijuana and believes you do as well. Right. These are the people that you want to be around your kids, and you don't know about it?
Like I said, if they do test dirty, they can go.
How come they're not gone already?
Because I don't
You're
know
getting
them to
away
do
from
anything.
drugs. If you and Miss Knight are getting away from drugs and trying to stay sober, how are they not gone already?
Because I don't know them to use marijuana. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Judge, you're
We can't hear
muted.
you, Judge.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Mr. Snelson?
Just two. Mr. Snelson, did you hear when Ms. Hollier read from the affidavit that that he said that he and Isaiah have been living, or I'm sorry, he and Isaiah had been using marijuana and he believed that you did. He didn't say that he knew for sure that you did he?
Right.
He didn't
Yes.
say that he used with you, did he?
No,
He didn't say that he used inside your home, did he?
that's correct.
What these two people do when they're not in your home, you don't know about, do you?
That's correct.
Pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Mr. Snelson?
I do have some, Your Honor.
You may.
And unfortunately, I think that this is going to be a time that I need to show Mr. Snelson some photos that I have emailed now. I believe they were probably available to the attorneys prior to today, but I've just received them today from the original part of the case. I need to show them to him to see if he recognizes them.
Let me check before so I can tell you if I have an objection.
So these would be departments number 2?
It would be numbers 2 through 9. They're not together in the same document, so.
Okay, very good. 2, 9.
I have not seen these photos. I don't know who took these photos, and I don't know when they were taken.
I'm hoping Mr. Snelson can answer those for us.
Right, but in order to do that, you would have to show him the photos, and you can't do that unless you're publishing to everyone.
Yeah.
What I'm going to
Yeah,
do.
so I'm not okay with that without having that answer, because some of the things that are in here, I don't
Okay,
even.
What I'm going to do is, somebody reminds me, you can share in a breakout room, right?
Yes.
Okay, why don't I put Mr. Snelson and his attorney and Ms. Zelezniak in a breakout room?
That's fine. And Judge, may I ask, I know my client isn't on Zoom because she doesn't have good service, but I mean, I'm wondering if my client is close enough to placement that maybe she could look at the pictures on placement's phone, but I don't know if they're near each other or not.
Why is that necessary if Mr. Snelson can do it? Why,
Well, I don't know if he can.
And
Maybe
by-
she can. Just thought I'd save time and kill two birds with one stone.
Okay, and so you all, if you will, please look at your screens. You may need to accept an invitation.
I don't see it.
Oh, you want to go in there too?
Yeah, why do you need to go in
Oh, I
there?
thought we were all going. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
thought I was going, and I thought Miss Hollier was going. Sorry. I thought we were all going to go have a little powwow with these photos. Sorry, I was looking at them when you were talking about it, so I guess I wasn't listening as well.
I remember hearing from so-called baby judge school 5 years ago, when there's an objection, rule and move on. And I get that. Rule on the objection and move along. So sometimes that's easier said than done. I have reflected on an earlier ruling of mine in this case, and I've decided to reverse it. When the objection was made to the hearsay by way of reading from an affidavit, I mentioned that, well, yesterday everybody, slight hyperbole, read from it yesterday. Well, upon reflection, I believe I was conflating this hearing with the one that followed. And so in reversing my ruling, I'm now going to sustain the objection and will disregard and will strike anything that Bailey Hancock may have said, anything the other Bailey friend dude may have said, and also I believe Isaiah the son might have said. So is that clear? Not do you agree, but is it clear?
Yes, Judge.
Yes.
So Are there any objections to departments 2 through 9?
Your Honor, whether
I think I actually need to lay a bit more predicate, Your Honor. I haven't asked him, I in the breakout room, I asked him enough, but I think all the other attorneys need me to lay the predicate before we can do that.
Absolutely. You may.
Okay, so Mr. Snelson, I've just showed you in that breakout room states or departments exhibits 2 through 9, those photos that we just saw. Do you remember those?
Yes,
Did you recognize them?
I do recognize them.
And while they're not photos that of your house in the condition that it is in today, do they fairly and accurately depict your house as it was on the date those photos were taken?
Yes.
And you don't know who took those photos?
I don't know for a fact, no.
But you did not take those photos, I guess is a better question.
I did not take those photos, no.
And you may have a suspicion about who took them, but you weren't there, you don't know.
No, I was there, and I think I know, but I don't know who sent them or submitted them, so I can't say for a fact, but I'm pretty sure on it.
Okay, and then we discussed that you didn't know the exact date, but it would have been about the beginning of the case, correct?
Correct.
So at this time, Your Honor, I would move to publish states exhibits 2 through 9.
All right. Any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, I object. We don't have the proper sponsoring witness. Second, it's not relative to the issue at stake. We're talking about presumably some photographs, at least in part, that were taken, some 6 months ago?
I think it goes to his credibility based on his testimony today.
All right. Any objections, Ms. Moore?
I would just join in Mr. Crocker's.
All right. The objections are overruled. Departments 2 through 9 are admitted.
And permission to publish via screen share?
Yes, ma'am, you may. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can y'all all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are no children in these pictures, correct?
Correct.
No. Okay, very good.
So Mr. Snelson, am I right in stating that this was your fridge around the time this case began?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, and sorry, for the record, that would be Departments Exhibit 2 and then Departments Exhibit 3. What are we seeing here?
That is a picture of the dryer.
I'm sorry, my Zoom thing is in the way of my Departments 3. Oh, sorry, Departments 4 is going to be what now?
That is my room.
Departments 5.
My closet.
Department 6.
Your Honor, could I get clarification on the time frame between 4, 5, and 6, please?
All right.
Mr. Crocker, what do you want me to ask him?
If he knows when it was taken, I don't want the impression left upon the court that these are accurate photos as the house exists today.
Mr. Snelson, all of these photos that are 2 through 9 are not photos as the house exists today, correct?
No, no.
They would have been photos taken at the beginning of the case back in November?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is Department 6, and I'm not sure if you answered what this was.
Where you're at right now?
Yes.
That's my room as well.
Okay. In Department 7?
The same. That's my room.
Is this this area kind of this bluish area leading into another room?
That's the closet.
Is there a window in that room?
There is a window.
Okay. So that's some natural light coming in?
Yes, ma'am.
I see. And Departments 8 is what?
That's my room.
Okay. And Departments 9?
That is a picture of the toilet.
Okay. Now, Mr. Snelson, those photos that were taken in the beginning of the case, are they more like the photos taken when Miss Stanley went to your house, or are they more like the photos you submitted through Miss Moore today from early May?
I don't feel like they're like any of them. I mean,
okay.
They're on different days. The house was in different condition on each time the pictures were taken.
All right. And you mentioned that you had been doing some construction on the house.
Yes, ma'am.
And we saw you put down the flooring, replace the flooring in the bathroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Between Miss Stanley's visit and today, right?
Yeah.
We saw you cover up the electrical box between Miss Stanley's visit and today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What other improvements between November of last year and Miss Stanley's visit did you make? That were
Okay, so-
construction?
Right. So where you had the pictures of the living room area, that was nothing. It was actually just like stuff stored there and building materials. So I cleared all that out and I redid the floor in that area as well and laid down linoleum and carpet. And then the pantry, it had a bunch of holes in it and stuff. So I redid the pantry there. And there's been a lot of construction going on. I've been leveling out my home, and we've been painting. There's just been a lot of construction going on.
It just seems like there's been so much improvement in the past several weeks as compared to the past several months. Would you disagree?
Yeah, no, I can't say that I disagree because I'm doing it as I get the money. So I've been working side jobs and scrapping metal, and so as I get that money, that was going to bills that I was behind on, just trying to keep up. And then when I get caught up, what little bit of money I have, I spend on materials and whatever else I may need to continue going, because I'm trying not to, how do I say it? I want to do everything right. I don't want to halfway fix it, So as I get the rest of the materials, I'll continue going. And that's how I've been doing it. So there has been a pretty good bit of updates in the past 3 weeks for sure.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Crocker. Or any other questions?
I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Moore, Ms. Hollier. Okay.
I don't have any, Judge.
Nothing further.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Snelson. You may go back to mute. And
Your Honor, may he go back to work?
yes, he may go back to work. You are excused to go back to work, Mr. Snelson. Remember that if at the end of this case, if you're not willing and able to provide a safe environment for your child, your parental rights may be further restricted or even terminated permanently. The court has found that you are compliant with your services. So with that, you are excused.
Okay.
Keep up the very good work with BIP. Laminate that relapse prevention plan. Keep it on your person. I congratulate you with your new job. So demonstrate. So you may be excused for now, having admonished you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Lewis, again, reminding you that you're still under oath. You have unmuted. Ms. Moore, you may continue.
Okay. I know we finished the dogs. Let's see. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about, have you ever seen people in the home when you've gone on your visits to the home?
I've seen people in the yard, yes.
Okay, but not inside the home.
I've seen 2 older boys. I'm assuming it's one of the brothers come into the, it was Bailey or Ashley and a brother, whatever the is in the Bailey or Ashley.
But you haven't seen a lot of other people in and out of the home, have you?
There was
inside the home.
Inside, no.
Okay. Outside the home, we've already talked about that. His brother lived there. So there could have been people outside the home for his brother. We don't know specifically anybody that might have been outside the home, what they were there for, do we?
Yes. There was a child outside the home. He was sitting on the porch whenever I was doing a visit. And Mr. Snelson said that he was letting them stay because they had nowhere else to go. They were staying in the mobile home in the yard.
Okay.
Him and his mother.
Okay. They were staying in his brother's home, that travel trailer, right?
Yes. They were staying in the
travel trailer. With his brother.
I'm not
sure.
Who
lived at the travel trailer.
He just mentioned the mom and the son.
Okay. But adults outside of the mom of those children?
No.
Okay. Have you asked either of these parents at any time if they have a lot of frequent visitors to the home?
Yes.
Okay. Did they tell you basically the same thing that you heard today already, that visitors, frequent visitors, no?
Yes.
Have you ever asked them to provide information to you about the son or the friend Bailey?
Yes, there was a CPS case called in on them that
Okay, objection non-responsive. The answer is yes or no.
yes.
Did you ask one of the boys or did you ask one of the parents?
The parent.
And did they give that information to you?
No.
Do you recall when this was?
Yes, it was on March 12th, I believe. Mr. Snelson called me and let me know that there was a CPS case that was called in.
Okay, objection to all of that. That's beyond what my question was. Did he give you a reason why he wasn't going to give you the two boys' information?
It's not the two boys, it's the mother and the son that lived in the trailer.
Okay, I was asking you, so you asked him for the information for the mother and the son in the trailer, or you asked him for information for Isaiah and Bailey?
No, whenever Isaiah and Bailey came through the door, that's whenever he introduced me to Isaiah and him. But I'm speaking about whenever he called me and told me about.
But I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you, did you ever ask him for Bailey or Isaiah's information?
No, I didn't.
Okay, did you ever ask Isaiah or Bailey to drug test?
No.
Okay, so now we'll talk about that mom and the son. You did ask Mr. Snelson for that information, right?
He called me about the information, but he didn't give me the names or a reason why the case was called in. And I asked him.
Okay, did you ask him to provide you their information?
Not after that. I let him know that they would contact me if there was a case.
So, yeah. Well, I want to make sure I'm clear. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm clear. You asked him for the information in that phone call, but then he said something about some CPS case, and then you didn't ask him for it again.
No, he contacted me about a CPS case that was called in on the trailer in the yard.
Okay.
Yes, he didn't.
And so you then asked him for the information?
Yes, and he said he did not know the exact reason, and that they were just staying there for a limited amount of time, and that they were leaving, but he didn't give me a name or names at that time.
Okay. Did he do the right thing by calling and telling you that information?
Yes.
That's the behavior you expect from a parent, right?
Yeah.
Did he ever mention to you whether or not that they would be there temporarily? You might have mentioned this earlier, temporarily or permanently?
He said temporarily until they get back on their feet.
Okay. That was on March 12th?
I believe
as well, that was earlier?
Yes, March 12th.
March 12th is when he said temporarily?
Yes, that's whenever he called me with the phone with that information.
Okay. When you went back out there in April, did you see them?
No.
Have you asked if they still live there?
No.
I want to go over, you talked about what my client needs to finish, but I want to talk about what my client has finished, okay? So she's participated in the drug screens as she's been requested to, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have any no-shows or failures to, okay. Do you know how many individual counseling sessions that she completed?
I believe it was 3, but she has seen the therapist that is in training. She was still seeing him while we were trying to get them set up with Mr. Hubel in the beginning. She said that she really liked that therapist, and the therapist in training, I'm not sure what you would call him, but she was seeing him prior to that. I'm not sure how many she did though.
But with Hubel, you said you think it's 3?
I believe it's 2 or 3.
Okay, so in your permanency report that you filed on April 30th, you listed that she had done 4 of 6 with Mr. Hubel. Would that be accurate?
Let me check.
It's on page 7.
I may have counted the psychosocial appointment as 1 as well, but I received 6 notes on them, progress notes.
Okay, that's not my question. My question to you was on your permanency report, you put that she had completed 4 of at least 6. Is that accurate?
3 appointments, 3 sessions, and then 1 appointment I used for the psychosocial. So that should be
Okay, so then it's correct that she's done 4 of 6, right?
3, and then the psychosocial was 1 appointment separate. That was an assessment.
So then when you put 4 individual sessions completed out of at least 6 recommended in your permanency report, that it was false.
Yes, it should be
Okay.
3.
Hold on a second. Let me get to the next question. The psychosocial evaluation. Okay, so you already said that she completed that. So the parenting, has she done that?
Yes.
And she gave you a certificate? Yes?
I haven't received the certificate, but I know she has completed. I received Andrew's certificate. So.
And you know what? I may have. Do you recall me texting you and asking you for your address or your email address?
No, but I did send you, and I did send all 3 of you my email and my new phone number whenever we switched over.
Yes, it was to the new number that we've been communicating on. I just want to make sure. I may have sent this to the old email. Give me 1 second. Okay, I can't find it right now. But if you, in fact, don't have that, let me know, and I'll make sure and I'm forwarding it to the right email, okay? Did you confirm with Jamie Essex that she did complete it?
Yes, she's completed with the parenting, yes.
Okay. Outpatient, she is 75% complete on that. Is that correct?
Whenever I did the report, it was 75%. They're probably 85 to 90% done now.
Okay. So when you did the report on the 30th, she had attended 15 group sessions and 5 individual sessions. Is that right?
Yeah, about that. It was the report that I just received from the outpatient counselor. I received that report probably 3 to 4 days before that. So I think they had another group in between when I received that and whenever I did this. But they have.
So when you wrote it, basically.
Yes.
So 425. On 425, that was accurate. Now it's about 90%.
Yeah, they're almost done.
Okay. And that covers her services, what she's completed, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Crocker.
Your Honor, I have no questions of this witness. No further questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McPherson.
No further questions of this witness.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hollier.
Ms. Lewis, how many times have you been to their home?
4 times.
Okay. During those times, how did the home look?
About like the photos from Dorothy.
Okay. Did they tell you at any time that they thought there was any concern with the home, or that they were under construction or anything like that?
I don't believe so. There were some things in the yard, and Andrew mentioned that he was working. That was his work. He was picking up scrap metal, so that was mentioned for the yard part, but no, not for the inside.
Okay. Do you think the home was appropriate on the inside for children to return, especially a 1-year-old?
No.
Okay. You're familiar with their family plan of service, correct?
Yes.
And there's that's different because it was a custom request that they did not have to provide who lives in their home unless they were asking for a return, right?
Yeah. Andrew's is our original policy, but that would be on Chelsea's.
Okay. And so that's very different from the policy of if they're going to live with you, we need to know, right?
Yes.
So do you know who's living in the home? Are you going to do background? What was your plan? Like when you saw Bailey and Isaiah possibly, what was going through your mind? And did they say they live there? Have you seen where they live?
No, they said
that they may have made as being hearsay.
I'm sorry?
I'm objecting to any statements that Isaiah or Bailey may have made to her as being hearsay.
Overruled. Just don't tell me what either of them said.
Oh, Mr. Snelson said they didn't live there.
So he told you they didn't live there. Was that being honest?
At that time, they may not have, but I believe that, no, that was not being honest.
Wait a minute, Kelsey. They were living there at the time of the removal. Then they weren't living there until today. They still weren't living there until I called him out on it. So is he being honest about who's living there in your mind?
No.
Is that a concern?
Yes.
Especially when they don't want to turn over the information to do background checks and to look into potential drug use, right?
Yes.
So are you going to be looking into that before you recommend return or unsupervised visits?
Definitely. That is what we start the even unmonitored visits, that's what we start doing.
And that's the importance of a family reunification assessment, is to make sure all things are in order before you push kids back, because we unfortunately have parents that don't always tell the truth, right?
Yes.
That's what it is.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
I do. I was good.
Go
You do.
ahead, finish.
Okay, I just had one more.
Go
Ms. Lewis,
ahead, Ms. Collier. Go ahead.
thank you. Ms. Lewis, do you believe that there exists a continuing danger in that home that would affect the children's emotional and physical well-being if they were returned to either parent today, or any parent today?
At this time, yes.
All right, that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Moore.
First of all, what are your concerns about things that might affect their physical well-being or their emotional or emotionally damage them?
Their physical well-being would be the home getting back to how it has been for the last 6 months, and that was at the point of the return. And also there are other reasons for the removal. The intake indicated.
I don't want you to testify about what the intake said. I want you to tell me what your concerns that puts them in a danger for being returned are.
That the home will get back to the way it was whenever the removal originally happened, and how it has been for the last 6 months. I don't believe that a child would be safe in a home under those conditions.
Any other concerns?
Just basically that for the physical. Yeah.
I mean, in general, other concerns. Any other concerns at all? It's about that it would be a danger to have the kids returned.
I just need to see the progress of the parenting and the communication between the children and the parents, and monitor how they are with them.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, that's about it. And who is allowed in the home, or who is staying in the home, and who is staying in the home, and
what about them? I didn't hear the first part.
And who is in and out of the home, or staying in the home, or staying in the mobile home outside. Those are concerns
what for them? I didn't hear the first part. There are concerns about those people?
Yes.
So how are those concerns remedied?
Well, to do background checks and check to see if to do background checks and drug tests, and to have an honest answer about who is actually living in the home or outside of the home in the yard.
Okay. Did you hear Mr. Snelson today give an answer to who's living in the home?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that those boys aren't living in the home?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was honest. He gave you an honest answer today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then background checks have already been run by the investigator. Is that right?
Yes.
So you already have that. So then all you would need on the two boys in the home would be the drug test. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you would want to do background checks or drug tests on anybody that they may want to use as a babysitter, or anybody that frequently visits the home, correct?
Correct.
Now, are you including family members that frequently visit the home? Because from what it sounds like, they're not having a lot of visitors there all the time.
Correct. Whoever is
So are you
staying
going to also do background checks and drug tests on family members that are visiting the home?
Whoever is living in the home. And
okay, so just someone who lives in the home.
And whoever, if they are staying overnight with someone, we do a background check on them as well.
Okay, perfect. Now you would need to see parenting progress and progress in the communication with the children. When was the last time you supervised a visit?
Last time I was at a visit with them would be at the beginning of April. Let me see the exact date. It was.
You don't have to give me the exact date. Just begin.
Okay, yeah, it was after Kelly's suspension in school. Whenever I was there with them.
Prior to that time, had you been supervising the visits?
No, they are on the caregiver supervisors.
So that's the only one that you've seen?
Yes.
Now, is it typical for you to check in with the caregiver and ask them how the visits are going?
Yes.
And you base basically your testimony about how visits are and what progress is made as far as parents, their interaction with the kids and their parenting progress based on what the caregiver tells you, correct?
Correct. And what the parents tell me and what the children tell me.
Okay. As far as the condition of the home, I think that, would you be surprised if the parents agreed with you that the home wasn't in a condition that the kids should return until recently?
I would not be surprised.
Okay. But as of right now, that home is in a good condition, right?
It's better condition.
It's not perfect by any means, but there's nothing that you saw in those pictures that presents an immediate danger or a danger to either of those children, is there?
Right.
Okay. Isn't it true that you would always have a concern for any parent that something might go back to the way that it was when the kids came into care?
Yes.
So that part is not valid to hold against a parent and giving them a shot to have their kids in their home, is it?
Well, when I monitored.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
For a monitored return?
No.
Okay. Because the whole idea is we want everybody to continue to monitor while the kids are there so that we can see if it's going to go back. How are things going to be, right? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Do you recall when Mr. Snelson said that the boys didn't live there?
Yes, I was under the impression that nobody other than them lived there.
Well, but when?
The very beginning of the case.
Okay. It's not like you talked to him last month and he said that.
No.
Whose information did he refuse to give you?
Objection calls for speculation.
If she asked for it, she's not speculating.
She doesn't know who he doesn't tell her.
That's not my question.
Overruled. You may answer.
The people residing in the mobile home.
So that travel trailer that we saw?
Mhm.
Okay, so you asked him for that. Are you talking about that phone call on March 12th about the mom and the son?
Yes.
Okay, did he actually refuse to give it to you, or did he say he didn't know?
I didn't say that he refused. I said he did not give it to me.
Okay, so he's never refused to give you information when you've asked for it, has he?
No.
Okay. If he had done that, or if there was any information that either parent in any case were refusing to give, it would be normal for you to reach out to the attorneys to try to find out what's going on, right?
Right.
And you haven't done that in this case, have you?
No.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Lewis? All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Moore?
Yes, I do. I would like to call Miss Victoria Crouch. How long have the children been placed with you?
Since November.
Have you been supervising the visitation between the parents and the children?
Yes.
How has that visitation gone?
It's gone great.
Do you see issues that you believe the parents need to work on when they're communicating with the children?
No.
Do you see progress in how the parents interact with the children from the beginning of the case?
Yes.
Tell me what that looks like.
They're more observant as to listening, I guess. They interact better than what they had been with the children.
Okay. Does that make you happy to see that?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes, I want them to be able to go home.
Do the kids enjoy those visits?
Oh yes. Jackson's gotten to where he screams and cries when they leave.
Okay. You know that we're here asking for the judge to return the children back to their parents today, correct?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion on whether or not, from what you've seen, that the parents have made progress to where you would feel comfortable with it?
Oh, definitely.
Do you believe that they're ready?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe that the children are both ready to be returned to their parents?
Absolutely. Yes. That they're ready to go home. So, and actually I took them last week over there so Kelly could tell them how she wanted her room done. And they enjoyed being home.
When you were there last week, what did the home look like?
That's like the second set of pictures that were shown.
The cleaner pictures?
The clean pictures. Yeah, Jackson was able to go in his room and play. Kelly was able to go in and tell him exactly where she wanted everything, and it was clean. The floors were clean.
Do you remember what date last week you went?
Saturday.
So on the 4th?
You had to be, yeah. It was on a Saturday, yeah.
While you were there, was there anything that you saw in that home that you believed to be a danger to the 1-year-old?
No, because if it had, I'd have brought it to Chelsea's attention.
Did you see anything there that you believed to be a danger to the older child?
No.
Do you know Isaiah and Bailey?
I know Isaiah somewhat. I don't know him as best friends.
Okay. When you've gone and visited the home, have either of those two been there?
I think Saturday Isaiah was there, but I didn't see Bailey. I've seen Bailey one time, and he was walking down the road.
Where did you see Isaiah?
I heard Isaiah. I didn't see Isaiah.
Okay. Aside from last week, I mean, over the last 6 years, have you seen Isaiah and or Bailey in the home?
Isaiah, yes.
Okay. Is that regularly when you visit, or? Okay. So is it every once in a while or more than every once in a while?
I'm going to say, as far as in the home, maybe once, and that was in the kitchen. He was getting something to drink, and any other time he was outside.
Has Kelly ever mentioned anything to you about being uncomfortable around Bailey or Isaiah?
No.
Has Kelly ever mentioned to you anything about being uncomfortable or scared of anybody who is on the property or in the home?
No. I actually make it a point, because before all this started, Kelly would come over and spend the weekends here. And of course, being a grandmother, I always made it a point, her being a little girl, ask questions. Are you okay? Everything's good. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody's threatened. All the little scenarios that could have happened. And she says, "No, Nana, everything's fine. Everything's good."
Do you have a relationship with her where if there was a problem, she would feel comfortable talking to you from what the conversations that she's had with you?
Yes.
Does she sometimes, often, never come to you with problems that she has with different situations in her life?
Often. Like if something's going on at school, she'll come home and talk with me about it.
Okay. To your knowledge, were the parents getting the house ready for the purpose of the children coming home?
Yes.
Based on anything that they've told you, do you believe that they realized that it wasn't appropriate before?
Yes.
Do you believe that it would be in the children's best interest to do a transition, so where they would basically have unsupervised visits with their parents for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then move in with their parents over a period of time? Or
I think that would be better. I'm sorry.
You think it would be better to transition it versus just like maybe placing them this weekend?
No, I think a transition would be best.
You have
school's letting out soon, so.
And when is school letting out?
The end of May. I don't have an exact date for you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So would you recommend to this court that they spend weekends with at home, basically, until school is out?
Yes.
Okay. Would you recommend that they also are allowed to spend some school nights at their home before school's out?
School night on Kelly. I try it one time and then see how she did, because I need her here to catch the bus at 6:45.
Okay, so maybe not school nights for her, but what about school nights for the baby?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you think if it's not okay for the oldest child to, or if you're concerned about with the bus, the oldest child being there on the school night?
The school is the only priority on that. Yes.
Right, I understand. How would you feel if they were permitted to come and spend after school, afternoons, like maybe through dinner?
That'll be fine.
Okay. How many dogs do you have in your house?
In the house, I have 3 Chihuahuas, and then Kelly's dog, which is outside. She's a Basset Hound.
Okay, and you have a Great Pyrenees, is that right?
I have a Great Pyrenees that has a fenced backyard, but also comes in and out, depending on the weather.
Have you ever been told by anyone at CPS that those dogs were a problem or a danger for the children?
No.
Have you seen the children interact with the dogs at Chelsea's house?
Yes, that last weekend when we went over there.
And were you concerned about the interaction between the dogs and the children?
No.
Were the children appropriate with the dogs?
Yes.
In fact, that's something that you guys try to teach Jackson, especially because he's so little,
Oh, yeah,
right?
especially Jackson, yeah.
Okay. And was the dog okay interacting with him being so small?
Oh, yeah. It didn't knock him down, I tried to lick him in the face. I think he had strawberries on his face or something.
But did he ever growl?
No, they never growled, never barked.
Did they so they didn't bark? Did they like nip at all at either of the children? Okay,
No.
so really just no issues. They were fine.
They were fine. Didn't try to jump on either one of them. No.
Okay. Now you took the oldest, well, you took both of the kids over last week for the purpose of the oldest telling the parents how she wanted her room, but you also wanted to go there for some other reasons of your own. Is that right?
Yes, I wanted to see how they were coming along with the house and make sure that they were getting appropriate for the kids.
Okay. And it's important to you that you see that home because you love those kids, right?
Sure, I do.
And you don't want
I'm
them to go
aware.
back to home if it's not ready, do you?
No, I don't. But
you do believe it's ready now.
I do believe it is, yes.
Okay. While they were there with the baby crawling or walking or playing on the floor or anywhere else in the home, did he get injured?
No.
Did you have to move anything so that he wouldn't get injured?
No.
Have you ever witnessed domestic violence between these parents?
No.
Have you ever seen these parents fight?
No.
Have you ever seen any marks on either parent that there wasn't a suitable explanation for?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever seen any marks that you suspected maybe would be from domestic violence?
No, I haven't.
Has the oldest child ever told you that she's witnessed domestic violence?
No, she has not.
Okay. There was prior testimony yesterday regarding conversation about something that happened in the home and then the oldest child making a statement about that. Do you know what that's in reference to?
No.
You don't recall if that was about the gun situation?
Oh, that gun situation about the girl or the woman that's there? Yeah. Or
okay. So when when that situation happened, did you shortly thereafter or at the time see Chelsea?
Probably shortly thereafter.
All right. About how long ago was that? Do you recall?
Oh, I do not.
Was it a couple of months before the case or a couple of years?
Wasn't it a couple of years ago?
Okay. Is that what you believe it was?
I believe it was many years ago. Yes, several years ago.
All right. When you
Kelly was little.
I'm sorry?
I think Kelly was little, younger.
When you saw Chelsea right after that incident, what did she say or what did you say?
What did Chelsea say?
Mm-hmm. If you remember, or what did you tell her if you remember?
I do not remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did she have anything with her when you saw her?
No.
Do you recall if she talked about the incident and mentioned whether or not she was in an argument with Mr. Snelson?
I vaguely remember. It seems like I told her to stop what she's doing, or being a mom, tell her to grow up.
Okay, yeah. But do you remember if it was regarding that, if that incident was with Mr. Snelson or if it was with another female?
I think it was with another female, to my remembrance.
Have you come to all of the hearings throughout this case or most of them?
Yes.
Were you at the adversary hearing?
What is that?
Were you at the first hearing where we all talked and they went over the concerns?
At the very first one, yes. I was late, but I was there.
Okay. Do you recall Miss Knight talking about that situation at that adversary hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall if what she said was the same as what she said to you several years ago as far as the parties that were involved?
Yes.
Have you ever seen Mr. Snelson be aggressive?
No.
Have you ever seen him do things that you believed were in an attempt to manipulate or control?
No.
Do you believe that Mr. Snelson is violent towards your daughter?
No,
If you believe that, you wouldn't want the kids to go back, would you?
no, I wouldn't.
Do you believe that he's violent towards the children?
No, not at all.
Do you, and I don't know him, he's not my client. You obviously know him, but as far as his personality and how he regularly presents, would you say that being someone who would show signs of aggression or manipulation, control, that type of thing, that is close to, medium ways away, or really far away from how he is normally?
Really far away.
I'll pass the witness. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have one more.
Go ahead.
Has Chelsea said to you anything about being discharged from her outpatient next week?
She talks to me about that all the time, but she's had so many going on. I get them confused. So
do you recall if she's mentioned anything about one more session and then being done with outpatient?
Yes, she did last week. Yes.
Okay. So your understanding is after one more session, then she's going to be discharged?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if she has gone to not Mr. Hubel, but the therapist that she wanted to use in the beginning? Do you know if she's gone back to him recently?
She said something about going back to him because she was not going to be able to see the kids on the day that she normally would see the kids.
So she has started going back to him?
As far as I understood.
Okay.
I mean, but
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Crocker.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hollier. Ms. McPherson, just chime in if you, I'll skip you. Just chime in if you need to ask any questions. Go ahead, Ms. Hollier. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Ms. Victoria, I know that you and I talked about the relationship, and I'm going to call it her KT because of us being on YouTube, if that's okay. But you know who I'm talking about, right?
Correct.
Very beautiful, vibrant, smart little girl, huh?
Yes, she is.
But she desperately does want to be back in the school district that her mom lives in, right?
She desperately wants to be back with her mom.
Right.
And the school district.
I knew the school was a big deal for her. And it sounds like that you believe that since we're getting so close to school being done, she needs to at least finish out the year with you. And then hopefully by next year, starting school, it'll be just like it was when she started school last year. Agree?
Agreed.
Because that's what she wants, right? If Judge was to talk to her, that's what she ultimately wants, correct?
Correct.
You had shared with me your concern about KT and her mom's relationship in the beginning, and the discord and the fighting, even with you. Do you see a change in your daughter?
Yes,
and have that changed?
Yes, I do. It's gotten a lot better. It's better.
Okay.
So she and I can sit down and have a civil conversation.
And so could that be because she's not under the influence of drugs?
I'm speculating, but yes.
I mean, that would make sense, right? You're probably more combative if you've got chemical substances in your body, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Were you able to recognize that Mr. Snelson and your daughter were using drugs before the removal?
No.
Does that concern you that you weren't able to recognize it when they were?
Well, it concerns me as a mother and
Sure.
But my understanding, I had the kids when they did it. So
well, do you think that makes it any better?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, by the time, I'm sure it had worn off by the time she got them back, or they got them back. No, it doesn't make it any better.
Well, do you understand? You understand the type of drug is whether they've gotten off it or not, holding that baby, they're exposing their child. Days later, weeks later.
We had him drug tested and he tested negative.
I know, but my question is, do you understand that he could be exposed based on that particular use of the drug?
I understand that.
Okay. So between KT and her mom, how has that communication got better? Like, can you give me an example of how Chelsea has maybe approached KT and they might not have seen things the same way? How has Chelsea, being the adult, done better or different now versus then?
Well, I really don't understand the question. There was never a problem between Kelly and her mother. The problem was between Chelsea and myself.
Oh, well, really? Because I thought after I had come, there was a problem where she was calling her and demanding to know
I'm
things.
gonna object to facts, not in evidence.
Well, do you recall that there was some discord between Kelly and her mom?
She was mad at her mother because she was jerked from her home. Wouldn't you be?
Sure, and that's my, and I know they were going through some discord. So how has that gotten better between them?
Well, it's just gotten better. They come over here, they play. She knows eventually she's going to be able to go home.
Do you think that KT's going through counseling?
Yes.
Do you think that maybe some counseling between her and her mom would be good, even if she returns home, especially since KT's going through those teenage years and all of that?
Well, counseling's good for anybody.
Agree. So that would be something that I mean, I'm not trying to put a bunch on Chelsea's plate. I know she's got a lot going on, but that could be helpful. Do you think Chelsea's at a point where she would reach out for resources and help if it got bad again?
Chelsea reach out? Yes, she would definitely reach out if she needed it.
Okay. And do you think that she would reach it out for KT as well?
Yes, her and her daughter. Yes.
Have you talked to Chelsea about what's been going on with KT? And I guess the sadness, the trauma of her being outside her home.
Chelsea is aware of everything that goes on with the kids in my care. Okay. If they sneeze and I think they're getting a cold, she knows about it.
Okay. You also were concerned, and you had mentioned that the baby really gained a lot of weight in a short period of time after coming to stay with you. Do you recall that?
Yes, he did.
So
well, I say a bunch of weight. He gained up to what he needed at that time.
Right. I got the impression that you felt like he was a little underweight and needed that time to gain some weight, correct?
Well, that's what the doctor had said, that he was a little bit underweight. So.
Do you believe that Chelsea and Mr. Snelson are ready for that, to make sure that he's getting the nutrition he needs and to meet his needs? You said that you felt like they were paying more attention to the kids. Is that kind of what you meant?
Oh, I think you're twisting my words. The reason he was underweight had nothing to do with him being malnutrition from Chelsea and Andrew. He was just underweight, and the doctor told me some things to do to put the weight on him.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got the impression that you did not want him to leave your house and go with the other grandma because you believed that they weren't keeping up with his nutrition. Was I wrong in that impression?
The other grandmother. No, I never stated that.
You don't remember at the beginning of the case where Mr. Snelson didn't want his child with you and wanted him to be with the other grandmother, and you expressed concern?
Evidence.
I'm just asking her if she recalls.
And it also, I think, goes to settlement statements.
Okay, overruled. You may answer.
Can you re-ask the question, please?
Yeah, you don't recall when Mr. Snelson wanted the baby removed from your home? That's when you shared with me that you thought he was doing really well because he was gaining weight.
I did recall that.
Okay, I got the impression that you said that because you felt like that they weren't meeting his nutritional needs. Did I get that wrong? Did I misunderstand what you were saying? Okay, yes, okay. So, do you believe that has it been difficult for Chelsea to get these services done? To your knowledge, did she share that with you?
No, it has not been difficult for her.
Okay, so you think that she'll be able to meet the kids' needs as well as continue on sobriety, counseling, all the things she still needs to do?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms.
I don't have any questions.
Ms. Moore, back to you.
I have two. As to the counseling, did you say Ms. Moore?
This is Michelle McPherson.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can. You have a question for Ms. Crouch?
I just have a few. Ms. Crouch, I know as to KT and the maternal, family on the paternal side of the family, has she had any contact visits with them at all? I know that with the father, we're waiting for some therapy sessions, but has she had any type of relationship with them during this case?
Are you talking about David Turner? No, she has not.
Not David Turner, but his mom, the one that she would go and see every once in a while.
No,
the grandmother.
No, Jenna's just sent like some cards on my phone that I showed to Kelly.
Okay. Do you know if Kelly wishes to see that side of the family?
Well, I asked her about Jenna. So when I tell Jenna when she wants to come see Kelly, she can come see her. She knows where I live. She's been to my home several times.
Okay. I just wanted to find out. All right. Thank you, Ms. Cross. I'll pass the other witness.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Crouch?
I just have two, Judge.
Okay.
When you were talking about the counseling between the oldest child and her mother, I want to make sure, are you saying that she needs to complete counseling with her mother before she's placed with her mother? Or are you saying it's a good idea she can be placed there before it starts?
She can be placed there before. I'm sorry, let me state this. The way I took the question is that after she is placed back in the home, did I think that Chelsea and Kelly needed to get counseling together as a mother and daughter?
And
that's the way I took the question.
That was my question.
The way I just wanted to confirm. I don't like to always kind of guess at what I think somebody's saying. I always like to make sure because I've gotten in trouble guessing.
Yes, and my answer to that was if they think that they need counseling as a mother and daughter, yes, they should seek it out. And Kelly is getting off the bus. Is there going to be a problem with me being on speaker?
I just have one more question and it will be easy. I don't think it'll be a problem. Are you available as a caregiver, like a babysitter, once the children are back home so that if Chelsea has a counseling session or something she has to do, you can take care of the baby while the oldest child is in school, or you could take care of both of them once school is dismissed?
Yes.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Any other questions of Ms. Crouch from anybody? Because I'm going to ask you, Ms. Crouch, thank you very much for your patience, your assistance. You can go ahead and log off. You are excused.
Okay. Thank you. I just didn't want Kelly hearing any of this.
Well, no,
have a great day.
Nor does any of us. Thank you. You too. All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I need to hear from Ms. Stanley. Ms. Moore, did you have any other witnesses? It is 4:20. I plan to be getting into closing arguments at 4:30, but I don't
have any witnesses, and I am willing to waive closing if everybody else is. I just wanted to make my two requests known to the court.
All right, Ms. Stanley, let me swear you in, and then any objections to Ms. Stanley testifying in the narrative, and then I'm sure some of you may have a few questions of her beyond that. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. Yes?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So you may begin, Ms. Stanley. Thank you.
My recommendation, Judge, today is to leave the children where they are. If you do decide to place the children in the home with the parents, drug testing on the son and his friend. Also, the gentleman in the camper, I think he's moving out for a reason, fast and furious, because he might be subjected to answering some questions along with a background.
I'm going to object to speculation, Judge.
Well, overruled.
Let's see. Also, well, let's see. Immediately set up counseling between KA and her mother, and then eventually bring Mr. Snelson into family counseling. Before the children are returned, I think it's imperative that we find out what who Kay is not comfortable with being around. I certainly don't want the mom or the grandmother to broach the subject anymore before it's brought out in counseling. There's a reason. They need some assurances. The children need some assurances. I know the baby can't understand, but Kay needs assurance that she won't be living in a home, what we've seen today, and she will not be living in fear with who's coming in and out of the home, and any issues that she needs to be addressed before the return to her mother and stepfather. And that's all I have, Judge.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Stanley. Any questions of Ms. Stanley? Anyone?
Yes. Yes.
You may.
You talked to Kay throughout this case, correct?
Yes.
How frequently?
I've been to the home and telephone, I'm going to say 5-6 times.
When was the most recent?
This is May, so it was April, just a few weeks ago.
And do you know who she's doing therapy with? The oldest?
I do not. I have not received any notes whatsoever, so I need that information.
Have you asked for that information?
No.
Okay, don't you think it would be important to read those notes so that you would know if she's even mentioning in therapy that she has a problem with somebody?
Well, if she
yes or no, Ms. Stanley?
Of course.
Okay. And she hasn't mentioned to you that she has a problem with people because you certainly would have asked her who she had a problem with, right?
Ms. Hollier.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no, Ms. Stanley?
No, I would not have asked her at the time of the visit.
Okay, but she hasn't mentioned it to you, has she?
No.
Okay, pass witness.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Stanley?
Yes, Ms. Stanley, you were mentioning something, I think, before Ms. Moore kind of asked you about it being a yes or no question about Kay maybe mentioning something to Ms. Hollier.
Yes.
I'm going to object. Judge calls for hearsay.
Overruled at this point.
Yes, there was a concern. Ms. Hollier said.
I'm going to object to hearsay. To what Ms. Hollier has told her.
Okay.
What?
Sustained. Okay.
Ms. Stanley, has any information come to your attention that gives you concern that Kay may be uncomfortable with somebody that's been in the house before?
I'm going to object as it's a backdoor to get in the hearsay.
Well, I'm not asking what the statements are.
No, but you're asking for her conclusions based on hearsay.
Overruled goes to the basis of Stanley's recommendation.
Where has that information come from?
The attorney at Lynham, Miss Bonnie Hollier.
Okay, and anywhere else?
No.
Would you want to see any of Kay's therapy records or counseling records before you were comfortable in assessing whether or not somebody was making Kay uncomfortable?
Yes.
Do you think we could get those?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you think that would be important to get before a monitored return was granted?
Or placement. I'm not in favor of a monitored return at this time. It would.
Objection. She's way beyond the question.
Okay.
Sustained.
I'll open my question up then. Go ahead. What you said you're not in favor of a monitored return.
At
so you
all.
wanted it before placement.
Yes, it's too.
Objection, non-responsive.
Overruled.
Can I hear what the question was? Because it sounded like, are you wanting that before placement? So I don't know if I missed it.
Ms. McPherson, I'm going to mute you. Sorry. Okay, one more time.
I was asking Ms. Stanley to elaborate on why she was not in favor of the monitored return.
Oh, as stated before, it's the folks on the property, the drug testing, the allegations, the condition of the home. Apparently, it's crystal clear that from November until my visit, it was a choice to live like the parents did. There's been no change in that area, and that sometimes can be a deep-rooted problem to why people want to live like that. There's no excuse.
When did you first become aware that there was a request for monitored return?
I saw the docket, and I saw it entered as one being a monitored return.
And did you hadn't gotten a motion yet at that point, though?
Not that I recall, no. I don't even remember seeing, but that's probably my fault if that exists. It's my fault, no one else's.
It's all right. I'll pass witness.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, unless somebody else has a follow-up.
Just real quickly, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And then you can mute me again, Miss Stanley. And I understand if you haven't had this conversation with KT, but I'm just trying to find out if KT has expressed any desires to see the paternal side of her family, the grandparents and stuff like that, or if you've approached the subject with her yet about having any family therapy with her biological father.
No.
Okay, thank you. Would that be something that you can approach with her about the next time you talk to her, if you feel it's appropriate?
No, I would rather that be in a therapeutic setting when Kellyanne is ready, when Kay is ready to have a relationship with her father.
Correct, and that's what I was getting at. You don't know if that she's ready for that at this point.
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Ms.
Yes.
Stanley? All right.
When did you get the information from Ms. Hollier that led you to the conclusion or the concern that you have about Kay's feelings about other people?
That was months ago.
And in those months, you didn't find it important enough to dig into it, to talk to her about it, or to request the counseling notes about it, did you?
No, I did not. She's not around those people.
Objection, non-responsive.
To your knowledge, is either of those persons the parents?
Pardon me?
Are the concerning persons either parent?
No, not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
I have no other questions, Judge.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Stanley, thank you. All right. Any requests for closing statements, brief closing statements?
I don't have a request for closing. I just want to make 2 specific requests to the court, not in the form of argument.
I have no closing, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Are they in your motion, Ms. Moore?
Well, kind of in my motion, one, the other one's not at all.
Okay. Let me hear the one that's not, because I remember your motion.
It's going to be about the therapy. So they've been doing the therapy with this student who's being supervised. So we were going to ask if you would order that they could continue to have their services with that person.
Well, I need a little more specificity because
Yes. And if you'll give me just a second, Judge, I can bring that up.
and I don't know that can be accomplished today because depending on what's going on, this is kind of the protocol and the road to becoming an LPC. Now, I don't know to what extent this supervision, if it is to that end, or if they're just looking over the notes from the session and saying, good job, next.
And I can find that out. If you wanted specificity as to the name of the counselor that's supervising, the name of the person that's being seen, or the name of the facility, I could provide that.
So as I was a little clear with the testimony, because today it sounded like for a minute that maybe she had gone to this person before or maybe during Hubel. It's clear to me that Hubel has discharged them for no bad reason towards either parent. But I need, and I don't have time for evidence today. Certainly, I don't think she should stop seeing anyone and that there be any interruption in that service.
And to clear that up, Judge, I can tell you that she went prior to seeing Mr. Hubel, but she also on her own went from February until current, in addition to seeing Mr. Hubel as an extra help, and she feels more that she can relate more with that therapist. So that's why she was doing that.
Okay. Well, I would hope that you and maybe Ms. Young can visit and maybe try to come to some sort of understanding or agreement relative to this person. I'm not sure that the situation and the credentials have really been explored. I just think it was given a no, and it might very well need to end up that way. But sometimes this is how counseling is done and received, and it's absolutely legit per the state. I don't know if it's going on that way. So I don't know if this is some youth director or if somebody who has, done their 18 graduate hours and on their way to licensure.
Well, and I believe Ms. Lewis may have actually talked. I don't think she just said no. I could be wrong. I got the impression through one of our communications that she had gotten in touch with him, and that's how she found out that he wasn't licensed yet, that he was being supervised. Am I wrong about that? That's correct? Yes or no?
I staffed with my supervisor. Chelsea explained that he wasn't licensed, and I confirmed that with Spindletop. And then I confirmed with my supervisor at the time.
Okay.
This is one of the things that has to be done to become licensed. I just don't know if that's what is being exactly done. But I think that can be, you all can find that out in short order. And, it's kind of like don't quit your job until you till you get another one. So I would say stay in counseling, and maybe you all can agree and can work something out. Maybe the supervision needs to be a little more hands-on. I don't know. I don't know. But so I'm going to take that under advisement now. So with that, I would think everybody would want to take notes, but I'm going to have direct Ms. Moore to prepare this order, and it's slightly involved. So here goes. Based on the evidence, the best interest of the children, the safety of the children, and taking into account the recommendations and even the arguments of counsel throughout, the first thing that I'm going to order is that the network perform a family reunification assessment by the time we're back into court on July the 16th for our permanency review before final order. So whether it's approved or not, I want it done, and I want the department's recommendation. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or we need a little more. Okay, number two, Ms. Moore, I'm hereby taking the motion for monitored return under advisement. Number three, based on the aforementioned, I'm going to order weekly unsupervised for 3 hours a week. Both children with Ms. Knight and Mr. Snelson, 3 hours a week unsupervised, provided that they continue to test negatively on their UAs for all illegal substances, and if any hair follicles are submitted to, that those levels have gone down. Now, during these 3 hours unsupervised weekly, the children shall not be taken to the home and shall have no contact with Isaiah unless and until he submits to and provides a negative drug test for the department, and he passes those threshold background checks, criminal, CPS, etc. Don't even ask me about Bailey, okay? So if there's to be no contact with Bailey, and the reason being right now, obviously there's some concerns, but he's not family. I know he's like family, but he's not family. So those are the conditions that have to be met if Isaiah is to have any contact. But this time is for the children, and this time is for the parents. Now, the parents are to continue their respective family plans of service. I'm finding that all of the parents are compliant with their service plans. If the parents happen to test positive, then the visits shall revert to what they have been. And I'm sure if that's the case, and I don't expect it to be, but I'm sure if that's the case, the department's going to come in here and argue for even more restrictive contact if that happens. But I don't expect it to. It certainly better not. It should not. I'm also going to order now because I think the time for it to happen might occur before we're back in here. But as soon as the school year is over, and this is irrespective to whether the unsupervised visits are still occurring in light of the conditions, but as soon as school is out, I want family counseling to begin with KT and mom. And then when the counselor says it's time, bring Mr. Snelson in. Okay. So first week in June, as far as I'm concerned, that could start. Okay, let me look over my notes. Ms. Stanley, can you say right now whether you're in agreement with the primary goal of FRE?
I am.
Okay, bear with me. Thank you. Bear with me just a moment. Let me go over my notes. During these 3 hours of unsupervised, if Isaiah won't take a UA or test negative or positive rather, or if he can't pass the background check, then he can't be on the property when the children are there. Okay. Now, I think the last thing I have, and then I'll elicit any clarification. The last thing I have is, obviously, we're not set to come back here until July the 16th. Okay. Now, if in the meantime, between today and then, you all agree to expand this a little bit, maybe if things go really, really well and you want to agree to an overnight sometime in June, under certain parameters, you may. I'm not going to order it, but you may. If you all believe that a monitored return is appropriate and in their best interest one day before that hearing, then you all may agree to do that. Now, Ms. Moore, there might be a reason in the interim period for you or anybody else to file something and get us back in here. There are 2 or 3 dockets between now and the July docket, but I would ask you not to try to set anything. This would, in all likelihood, be terribly premature, but please don't set anything on whenever we have the Rogers trial. I think it's the 13th. Is it 13th and 14th? Yeah, 13th and 14th.
It's next
May?
week. Yeah, that would be.
I won't do that, Judge.
Okay. So I can't remember if you're on that case, but
I'm not, but that would be a waste of everyone's time. I would not do that.
Okay.
I'll waste your time in other ways, but not that obvious.
Okay.
So I just have a clarification on, because I was a little unclear.
I was sure you were.
No, I think I was I just maybe misunderstood.
Go ahead.
I thought that any visitation between now and then should not be on the property, but then you said if Isaiah tests positive, then he can't be on the property, and so that confused me.
If the parents choose to knowingly let him remain on the property if he tests positive, then shame on him. What do you think is going to happen?
Sure, I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that
no,
they're
no.
not free. Yeah,
No,
okay. I
so
get it. No, I hear you.
So the only way that the children can be on the property is that Isaiah's not on it, or anyone else, Bailey or brother in the camper that's in the ditch. Okay. Or if Isaiah passes a drug test and a background check.
Understood.
Okay. So he's going to have to pass the background check. He's going to have to submit to, and the department I'm going to leave it up to them if they want to test him more than once. But if he can't do that, won't do that, he can't be on the property. If he's on the property, if he has COVID and he's lying up in the bed and he's not done any of those satisfactorily, then we got to go to Chuck E. Cheese's or Incredible Pizza or Main Event or something like that, or the park, or the library. Does that make sense?
Do they have libraries anymore? No, I'm kidding.
Well, they're Chromebooks, right? I don't know. Better get there.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Moore.
I believe I know the answer, but I don't want to assume. I'm sorry?
Is your question, when is the submission of the order?
No, that's not even entered my mind. I figured I would look at my calendar and figure that out. But I feel like I know the answer, but I just want to make sure. The unsupervised 3 hours weekly is in addition to supervise as much as they want, which is what they have been doing.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And that's, a big part of that is kind of at Ms. Crouch's discretion.
Right.
I mean, she could change the locks if she wanted to.
Yeah. Well, just in addition to what they've already been doing.
It is in addition to. It is in addition to. Yes. In fact, she can have 3 hours a week to go to the spa or whatever.
To the spa?
Aesthetic said bar.
I think it was a spa bar combination. That's why I wanted to ask him. It sounded like spar.
No, maybe a lash bar. I don't know, but no.
Okay, I'm just picking on you now.
Yeah. So she gets a break. Not that she's asking for it, but she deserves it. So, okay. Anything else from anyone else? Finished before we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So hopefully, Ms. Moore, sometime next week, you can get the order. And if you'll not submit it until everyone has signed off on it as to at least form.
May I request that I do it by the 24th, simply because my next week is pretty heavy already.
Okay, so
I can try to get it done next week. I'm just worried. I only have 2 days, and if stuff happens, I'm not gonna have time.
So I know this may be throwing a wrench into your plan, but I actually need practice drafting orders. So can I maybe draft it and then send it to you?
I mean, I don't care. Judge, it's up to the judge. But yeah, I would definitely want you to send it to me, because I most likely am going to have a lot of edits. I'm really particular.
Now we all know who was on the dean's list every
Exactly.
We all feel so sorry for you that you need practice drafting. So, Ms. Moore, if you want to give that practice, share that joy.
I'm getting new software soon that's going to help me, so I'm pretty excited to learn it.
I will. Do you want me to send you my notes on the order? I don't know if you also took the notes. Okay.
I have them.
Don't fall for that. She's going to send you a piece of paper said, yeah, what the judge said.
It's going to say monitored return granted in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I thought when I saw Mr. Crocker's device light up, I thought he was going to say, no way, I want to do it. Well, I want to thank all of you for your work for these children and your very excellent, zealous advocacy. I'm sure it was enjoyed by the thousands today.
Oh, God. We'll go check the comments.
Anything else from anyone else? No, but seriously, thank you all. Thank you all very much. So, okay, if there's not anything else, then we will adjourn. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good night.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.